back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. I'm Shayla, and as you can tell from the title of this video, I am in New York apartment hunting. I currently live in Los Angeles. I've lived in California my whole life. I grew up in South Orange County, and then for the last 13 years I've lived in LA, and frankly I'm just kind of bored. Definitely has its perks and pros, but I just am ready for a new adventure. I'm 32, I'm single, I don't have any kids, I work for myself, I can work anywhere in the world. And I came to visit New York last November. I will link that vlog down in the description box below where this all began. But while I was here, I just had this intuitive feeling that New York has something for me here. That is why I'm here, exploring all the options. It's not 100% that I'm moving yet, but I'm really leaning into it. I know that some people might hear my current situation and think that it's a little insane to just uproot your life and move across the country for an adventure, but here's the thing, life is short and you gotta have fun, and it's meant to be explored and enjoyed, and I just don't feel the inspiration and excitement about life in LA anymore. So here we are in New York. I actually am vlogging this entire trip, but I decided to keep all of my apartment tours and apartment hunting affairs all in one video, which is this video. But if you want to check out the vlog, I will also link that below. Since I am literally starting this video right before I go see my first apartment and before I've seen any apartments, I am assuming that once I tour and see some of these places, I'll probably have some new and different insights and tips and ideas and non-negotiables, etc. Hi, it's me from the future. We're gonna talk later after you see all these apartment tours, but I just wanted to let you know that I do indeed have some extra tips and things to keep in mind when you are in New York apartment hunting. So I just wanted to let you know, but enjoy the tours and we'll chat at the end. But for now, going into these tours, a couple of things that I'm looking for. South-facing unit, because I want really good light, really good natural light. I really would love lots of windows. Floor-to-ceiling windows would be ideal. I want a building that has an elevator and a 24/7 doorman or someone at the front of the building just for security purposes. I definitely want a washer dryer in unit. That is something that I've actually never had, and it's just something that I feel like I'm at that time in my life where I don't want to have to carry my laundry down the street or down the flight of stairs or what have you. And especially in New York. Here in New York, there are seasons and I don't want to deal with that. So I would love a 1-bedroom. Since I do work from home, I'd like to have a little bit of extra space, but I am also open to a larger studio or an alcove studio with some separation. I just definitely don't want my bed like in the kitchen. I also have 2 dogs, Bolly and Penny Lane, so the building has to be dog friendly. A couple of other things that I included in my criteria when searching is walkability to places like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. I want to be able to walk very easily to where I get my groceries. I also looked into how far of a walk it is to the nearest metro station, because if and when I move to New York, I will not have a car, and I want to make sure that I can get around the city easily and not have to walk a half an hour to get to the nearest metro station. And then a couple of other things that I looked for was walkability to yoga studios and workout places that I enjoy going, because I know that that's something that I'm going to want to keep a part of my daily routine, and that's important to me. The go-to places to look for apartments here in New York is definitely Street Easy. You can set your criterias and set your non-negotiables and musts, as well as your price range. And speaking of price range, wow, New York. You're expensive, girl, damn. I definitely had to increase my budget quite a bit. I'm grateful to be able to be in a position where I can afford a little bit higher rent, but it was definitely shocking, even coming from LA, which is ultra expensive, but it is what it is. You're paying for the city and the location, and a good location that is walkable and a newer, more upgraded unit, which is something that I wanted, is gonna be more expensive. That's just the reality. As far as apartment styles, I am looking for a more luxury style building because I have done gritty for the last 13 years in LA, and your girl's just at that time in her life where she wants a little bit of luxury. I work hard, I spend a lot of time at home. I want to live in a nice place. So all of the buildings that I'm touring are either updated or they're newer buildings, but they're all considered luxury buildings. And the other reason why I wanted to do a newer type building is because the updated buildings and the more luxury style buildings tend to have better noise control as far as having double paned windows, and it's just built a little bit differently. And for me, I have a podcast, I record at home. I know that New York is noisy AF, but I do need a quiet space at home to work and record. And so these things are important for me to be able to continue to earn an income and work and live my life. But for now, it's time to head out to our very first apartment tour. I ended up touring 4 different units in this first building I went to. This is a brand new building in Chelsea. It is absolutely stunning. Double paned windows, really quiet in the unit. Everything is brand new, like I said, so no one else has lived there. The building is very centrally located in a really great walkable area. This apartment had a cute little foyer area, as well as ample closet space, dishwasher, brand new appliances. The bathroom is gorgeous. I love the white marble. This one didn't have a bathtub, which made me sad, but it was still beautiful nonetheless and had great storage in the bathroom. The floor-to-ceiling windows were gorgeous, and the rent included heat and hot water, and they were a pet-friendly building, which was a must for me. The second unit I toured was a studio, and I really liked the layout, but sadly, all of the studios in this building face another building, which means absolutely no light. And for me and the work that I do, that just wouldn't work. The apartment itself, however, is gorgeous. There was a beautiful bathtub in this one. The second one bedroom I saw was slightly bigger than the first. The only differences I noticed were the amount of cabinet space in the kitchen, and the bedroom was slightly bigger as well. Otherwise, this second one bedroom is very similar to the first. The kitchen was also laid out a little differently, which I did like because I could add a little floating island. One extra very bougie thing about this bathroom is that the floors are heated, which is not something that's necessary, but like, you know, why not? The only thing about this building, other than it being a little out of my price range, is that there's construction happening across the street. I ended up seeing a second studio in the building that had just received an application on it, so it was a pretty slim chance that I would be able to apply for this unit. And again, it was also facing buildings, so the lighting was not that great, but it still was at least good to see. This building had amazing amenities: pool, gym, 24/7 doorman, as well as a lot of other amenities. First apartment showing down. The building was really, really pretty. It's a brand new building, and it actually wouldn't be ready until April 1st, which would give me some time. But keeping an open mind as we continue this adventure. Made it to Brooklyn. Time to tour some apartments. I absolutely loved this apartment, even though the cabinets are not the color that I was hoping for. Yes, I know, it's ridiculous, but I was hoping for light cabinets and light, bright, white, everything. The lighting in these apartments at this building were amazing. Every unit had a washer and dryer, dishwasher, brand new appliances, floor-to-ceiling windows, central AC and heat. great closet space, super quiet in the apartments, and it was a pet-friendly building, which is amazing. I also toured a one-bedroom while I was at the building. The one bedroom was very similar to the studio, it just had that additional bedroom on it. Otherwise, everything was pretty much the same from the studio to the one bedroom. And this building had a lot of great amenities: pool, gym, dog wash, 24/7 doorman, elevator, and library where I could potentially go and work for the day, which is really nice. And the views from this apartment were amazing. This first apartment I saw in this building in Brooklyn was a penthouse. It was not one that I planned on seeing, but when I arrived there, he let me know that it was available to look at, and I thought, you know what, why not? This building also had amenities like a pool and a gym. However, everything really felt unkept for the price. The gym was really dark and in the basement, and the pool area was kind of a hot mess. This apartment had the most incredible, dreamy windows. Oh my gosh. Wow, the windows in this apartment are unbelievable. Wow, wow, wow. The kitchen, in comparison to the other ones that I saw, was just kind of so-so. It was kind of a shame this building didn't really clean the apartments very well before they were touring them. Given the price, I figured they might clean up a little, and the bedrooms were very, 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 very small, like closet-sized bedrooms. But with windows like that, maybe it doesn't matter. The view is just like unreal. I cannot. The second apartment I saw was another one bedroom, one bath in the same building. It was honestly like filthy. I looked past the dirt though, and I kept an open mind. It was on the higher end of my budget, but I'm glad that I went to go and see it. It was kind of hard to picture myself living there with all of the grime in the kitchen, but it did have a lot of really good cabinet and closet space. The living room was massive. The floor to ceiling windows were amazing. The view was incredible. But again, the bedroom was so small. I love this building because it has amazing views, but the bedrooms are so small, like so small. For context, I'm gonna lay down and show you. I'm like, just to give you some perspective, this is the bedroom. One step this way, wall, wall. But the view from the bedroom is gorgeous. Look at that view. Day 2 of apartment hunting in New York. Let's do this. I really loved this apartment. I love the floor to ceiling windows. This was a one bedroom, one bath in Hell's Kitchen. Pretty decent location, great sized bedroom, good closets, beautiful kitchen, very much my aesthetic. Has a washer dryer in unit. They had great amenities at the building. And it was a pet friendly building, which is a plus. Lots of great closets. It was a really big building, meaning there were a lot of units in the building, which was slightly overwhelming, but the apartment itself was really beautiful. The first apartment I saw in this building was a studio. Pretty decent little kitchen, although I was bummed out that it was not open to the windows, so the kitchen was slightly dark. But the closets were pretty good. There was nice built-ins in the closet. It did have a washer and dryer in the unit, which was great. It was a pet-friendly building. And the floor-to-ceiling windows were amazing. This apartment, however, was very small. The bathroom was really pretty though, and the building itself was really well kept and in a great area. I also just decided to take a look at a one bedroom in the same building, even though it was out of my price range. I just wanted to get an idea. I did really like this apartment. However, I was disappointed that the apartment looked out into a parking lot. Otherwise, the kitchen was really nice. The living room was a really nice size. The bedroom was a decent size. The building also had a 24/7 doorman as well as a gym. You know what's funny? This one bedroom's walk-in closet is the size of some of the actual bedrooms I've seen at other buildings. The next apartment I didn't end up going to see in person, but I wanted to include the video tour. It is in the Lower East Side. It's a one bedroom, one bath. Really pretty, updated. The building itself looked really pretty. However, I wasn't crazy about the location. This apartment had its own balcony, which was amazing, but it was right on the FDR, which is a major highway in New York, and that just wasn't my vibe. It was a really beautiful space though. It had a washer dryer in unit, it was pet friendly, and the building did have some amenities. I ended up last minute looking at this studio in the West Village. I really loved the area. The area is amazing, but for the price, I just felt like the studio was so small, and it also didn't have a washer dryer in the unit, which is something that is a non-negotiable for me. The apartment itself was really pretty. I loved that it looked out on the street. And I really loved the area so much that I asked to see another alcove studio, which was just a slightly larger studio. This studio did not have a washer dryer in the unit either, and it also faced the interior courtyard area, which means not so great light, which for me is not so great for my work. This apartment in Brooklyn is a one bedroom, one bath. The windows in this apartment were amazing. The entire corner of the apartment was windows. It was so pretty. I really liked this apartment. It just wasn't in the best area for me. It felt really far from the metro station and really far from my friends that live in Brooklyn. It did have amenities, but again, for the price, I just felt like the amenities could have been a little bit better. The gym was really dark, no pool, and the deck was just kind of so-so. This one bedroom, one bath in Hell's Kitchen was absolutely beautiful, super spacious, washer dryer in unit, amazing amenities. Huge bathroom, very much my aesthetic. Was in a pretty decent area. You could actually walk to Central Park, which I really loved. I loved all the storage and the closets, was pet friendly. And I loved the floor-to-ceiling windows. Really big closet and really good sized bedroom.
This one had a private balcony. It was not south facing, but it did get a decent amount of light. And I decided to look at a few more apartments in this building. The second one bedroom I toured right off the bat just wasn't me. It was on a lower floor, which means people in the courtyard could very easily see into my apartment, and that pretty much did it for me. The last apartment I saw in this building was amazing. Look at those windows. Oh my gosh. It was not south facing, which means it's not going to get good light though during the day, and it was definitely more than I felt comfortable paying. The apartment itself was beautiful though. Again, lots of really good storage, washer, dryer, lots of closets. Really great sized bedroom and really spacious bathroom. And again, the floor to ceiling windows, they're just so freaking dreamy.
All right, we are back in LA and it has taken me quite some time to go through all the footage. I ended up seeing 18 apartments total, which was a lot. I did that in 5 days and I had a lot to think about. I'm still processing a lot, but I did want to touch base with you on a few things before I let you go. First of all, I decided to not include the rent prices because A, it's just really easy for you if you're interested in finding out how much apartments range in New York to get on Street Easy and see for yourself. I just felt really uncomfortable. Just to give you an idea, like as far as the average cost of rent in New York, anyone can look this up, I just Googled it. The current median rent in New York is $41.63 for a 1-bedroom apartment and $58.74 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Gone are the days of the COVID specials that I saw all over my YouTube homepage when I was getting myself excited before going to New York to look at apartments. In addition to rent being extremely expensive in New York, a lot of these luxury buildings that I looked at do sometimes offer 1 month or 2 months free. So there's something called net effective rent and gross rent. As an example, let's say the rent for an apartment is $4,000, but they're offering 2 months free. Your gross rent would be $4,000 a month. But after they deduct those 2 months from your year's worth, the rent goes down to $3,300. So there's a lot of variables as far as rates go. It depends on whether you're using a broker or not. I didn't end up using a broker for any of my apartment showings. I did try to connect with 2 brokers while I was there because I wanted to see some more authentic, vibey New York apartments, but it just didn't work out. So I ended up only seeing apartments in amenities buildings. And since we're on the topic of money, something that I learned about while I was there touring apartments is the income requirements. And I don't know if every single building is like this, but every single building that I toured did have this income requirement, and that is that your yearly income has to be equal to 40 times the rent amount. If the rent is $3,000 a month, you have to show proof that you make at least $120,000 a year, which is 40 times the rent amount. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I know that there are definitely more affordable-ish areas to live in New York, but for me, safety, walkability, and my overall quality of life is really important for me, especially coming from a situation where I've felt pretty unsafe and unhappy and uncomfortable in my current space. I have been living beneath my means for quite some time, and I've been dealing with a lot of stress and just general bad energy. So for me, it is worth it to stretch myself, save if I have to, and make it happen so that I'm really happy in my next place. I have some little notes written down because I want to make sure I get all these in before I let you go. The neighborhoods that I'm looking in and that I looked at while I was there, some areas in Brooklyn, Chelsea, Tribeca, Soho, Hell's Kitchen, Upper West Side, West Village, and Lower East Side. I was able to narrow down the areas that I wanted to look in because I have friends that live there currently, but I also have a couple of friends that live in LA now that lived in New York for like 10 years, and they were able to give me some pointers, which is great. But all of those areas that I just listed are really great areas, walkable and relatively safe, which was important for me. But with that, the rent is higher there. So, you know, you have to like decide what's important to you. I'm out on the street a lot. Not out on the streets, but I have dogs, you know? So I get up really early in the morning and I walk my dogs, and I want to feel like I can walk in my neighborhood and not be on edge. And sometimes I have to take them out late at night, and I want to be able to walk outside and feel okay to take my dogs out. So that is just another reason why I chose certain areas where, yes, it was maybe a little bit more expensive to live, but it would allow me to have less stress on a daily basis. The other thing I will say is that the New York apartment, oh man, see, this is why I want to live in a new building. Because this person just turned their water on and I can't record. Okay, we're back. Another thing to keep in mind is the New York apartment market is extremely competitive. Some of the apartments that I had planned on seeing were already off the market by the time I got there, and I had booked all of my showings the week before. I did that on purpose because I knew that the apartment market was pretty competitive. So I obviously had been looking quite a bit since I left New York the first time. So for like 3 months, every night I would get on and look and see what apartments were available. I even thought that I had decided on a particular apartment, and when I got off the plane, I got an email that it was gone already. So I was like, okay, wasn't meant to be. So that is something to keep in mind. The apartments go quickly. I have heard of people renting apartments sight unseen just because the apartments do go so quickly. I was this close to doing that. No, I wasn't gonna do that. I sent my friend Brooke there to look for me. This was before I went and did all the apartment tours. I ended up seeing one of those apartments while I was in town, and wow, am I glad that I did not do that sight unseen. And I've heard some horror stories about this too, and I even experienced it myself. Unfortunately, you can't trust the pictures and the videos on these listings because sometimes you get there and it just doesn't even look like the same apartment. You're like, what? So that definitely happened. I definitely walked out of a showing. And so yes, the apartment market is very competitive, but also don't let anyone push you or make you feel rushed into doing anything. You might have to wait a little bit longer. You might have to exercise a little more patience, but the right apartment will show up for you. And on that note, one of the biggest things that I learned while looking at apartments in New York is that you will have to compromise on something. I feel like that's with anything in life. They say that about relationships too, but it's really true. You're gonna have to compromise on something. Maybe you're not gonna be in the best area, but your rent will be a little bit lower, or the cabinets aren't the color that you were hoping for, or there's a little more noise, or it's a little bit smaller, or whatever it is. And I think that it's important to have a solid list of non-negotiables that are important to you, and then also have a list of things that are important to you, but that you're more flexible on, because the reality is you will probably not get every single thing that you want unless you don't have a budget. With all of that being said, I have not yet signed a lease. Definitely in conversation with a couple of the buildings and waiting to find out about availabilities because there weren't open availabilities at some of the buildings when I was there. Hence why I saw some model apartments just to get an idea. I at least wanted to find some buildings that I really liked so that I could keep an eye on them from LA. And then I would feel more comfortable jumping on an apartment if it became available because I had already seen the building and knew what I was getting into. But I would love your opinion on which one is your favorite. Which one can you see me living in? What's your fave? What do you think? Kind of exciting. I definitely have my top favorites, but as I wait for the timing to align, I'm cleaning out my apartment and selling my furniture and getting myself ready to move when the opportunity arises. So it's still a very exciting time, and I will definitely update you in next week's vlog. Speaking of which, if you're not already, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button because I upload a new video every single Sunday, and we have a lot of exciting adventures coming up, okay? I think we're gonna move to New York. I think we're doing it. When? I don't know, but all the more reason for you to hit the subscribe button and join me on this journey. Also, if you're not already, definitely follow me on Instagram. I am at Shayla Quinn. The link for that is down in the description box below. I'm also on TikTok at Shayla.Quinn. And of course, if you have any questions about any of the apartments that I saw, I'm not gonna give you exact addresses because I still don't know where I'm moving yet, and I don't feel comfortable doing that until I decide which apartment I'm moving into, so sorry in advance. But if you have any questions, I can definitely answer them in next week's vlog. But either way, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next Sunday.